Have you noticed the new delivery at your curbside? Keep Pearland Beautiful, in conjunction with the City of Pearland, has made it easier for you to get more recycling to the curb. They've delivered new 96-gallon recycling bins that will replace your old 18-gallon tubs. You may already recycle. This video isn't really directed at you. This video is for the residents that may not be convinced that recycling is worth the effort. That brings me to Faye Watson. She wants you to take advantage of these new bins and recycle. But before we let her convince you, let's see if the numbers alone are enough to make you recycle. The average person generates 4.5 pounds of trash every day. Although the Environmental Protection Agency estimates that 75% of solid waste is recyclable, only about 34% is actually recycled nationally. Let's bring that a little closer to home. The city of Austin recycles 38% of its waste, and San Antonio has a 25% recycling rate. Pearland, however, only recycles 11% of its waste. The new 96-gallon bin should help that number go up, though. Let's hear from Faye Watson at Keep Pearland Beautiful about what we can do to get more waste in the recycling bins and out of the landfills.
What we do is we concentrate on 3 focus areas: beautification, litter prevention, and solid waste disposal. And by that, we try to make sure that people dispose of their waste appropriately, whether it be by recycling or knowing what really should go to the landfill, encourage them to compost their yard waste, or take care of their yards in ways that minimizes impact on the environment. So those are the main things that we do, and we focus a lot of our energy on recycling because we, as a nonprofit, we do have a contract with the City of Pearland to encourage people to recycle and promote recycling within the city. Keep Pearland Beautiful has had a long-standing relationship with the city. The mayor has been on our board for many, many years. We've had a contract with the city that we would do environmental education and the recycling efforts in Pearland. We've had a very good relationship with the city. The city's always been pretty forward-thinking in terms of recycling, allowing us to start the first recycling center out on Old Alvin Road, and then applying for a grant through HGAC to build the Stella Roberts Recycling Center. And we've had curbside recycling since the 90s. So, the city's been pretty progressive, but not everybody recycles. So we really want to encourage people to recycle more. Our city, through the recycling center and through their contract with Waste Management, we take hazardous waste and help our citizens dispose of it properly. So people can drop it off at the recycling center. They also have the opportunity to use the at-your-door service that Waste Management provides. So they call at your door, tell them what they're trying to dispose of, they make an appointment, they're told exactly how to package it, they leave it at their curb, and Waste Management, or the at-your-door part of Waste Management, comes by and picks up the household hazardous waste. We really have seen a drop in people dumping illegally within the city because there's ways to get rid of that waste: paint, oil, old batteries. I mean, you can if there's something that is not, that we need to dispose of, there's a way of getting rid of it in our city, which I think is really good. In April, they're going to be able to get rid of their 18-gallon recycling bins, and a cart is going to be delivered to their house, and that cart will have a sticker on it that should identify it as a recycling receptacle. We have one here in our office. Then we should be in all the media outlets giving everybody, educating everybody on what will go in your bin. And basically, it's everything except for your pizza box won't go in there because it's greasy. Other than that, and plastic bags, pretty much everything will be in your bin. So it's plastic bags, number 6 plastics, and food, stained cardboard. We really want to educate people on how easy it is to recycle now. They don't have to sort things. Well, you don't have to sort your recycling out into separate commodities. Everything's going to go in your bin except for anything that's really trash. So hopefully everybody will have 96 gallons of recycling and maybe 10 gallons of trash. That would be the ideal case.
So what if you have something like a broken TV or a few gallons of paint? What are you supposed to do with them? If you aren't sure if an item belongs in the curbside recycling bin, don't worry. You can always bring it to the Stella Roberts Recycling Center. The director, Wes Shows, took time out of his busy day of recycling to explain to us all of the interesting things that happened there.
One of the things that I've done to help that is give lollipops to the children. That makes the kids want to come back. Another thing that we do to get people interested is we give tours to the school children or daycares or the day camps in the summer. And we've had customers come in that said, well, we're doing this now because my son took a tour, my daughter took a tour here, and she wants to recycle. Or they learned about it in school or a school program. And that's what we want to do. We want to start recycling, and then they'll come in and be regulars. We'll provide them with a small bit of information, what we take, and suggestions on transportation, and then they take it from there.
We've got all kinds of paper, any kind of paper actually can be recycled. And now cartons can be recycled, so your milk cartons, soy milk, almond milk, your orange juice carton, milk jugs, any of the plastics except for the number 6 plastics, which are the polystyrene, styrofoam type plastics, and metals, aluminum cans, your cardboard. You can flatten your boxes, shove them in the bin. And the best part of having this rolled cart on rollers is that it's got a lid. Your papers aren't going to get wet. It's going to make our commodities cleaner and have the turnover in for the recycling go smoother, I think.
Single stream is where you mix all the items that are acceptable that people can bring us into one big group. Then we pour that into a great big compactor and crush it. So when we ship generally 1.5 to 2 tons at a time, and it could have the paper, the plastic, all the different grades of plastic, the different grades of cardboard that we take, aluminum, glass, all of that is mixed together and shipped to Waste Management. They take it to a facility off of Gassmer and Post Oak where it's then separated. They've got a big computerized machine. It cogitates and does all of its exercises and sends these items out into different streams. And then the last line is they have a line of people that pick it out and separate it for anything that was confused the computer.
The easier it is for people to recycle, the more likely it is that they're going to recycle. So if we can get people thinking, the only thing you need to put in the trash is, your leftovers and, papers that's stained with, grease or oil, then, it's going to be a lot easier for them if you don't have to do a lot of thinking. And so we're really hoping that eventually Waste Management will accept number 6 plastics, because it'd be nice if it was just a no-brainer. You didn't have to look for a number or think about it at all. I say, it's going to be so easy to do this. just do it. Not because it's going to save a tree or it's going to, save the planet or anything like that. It's going to be a matter of we're going to save money. The more of these recycled commodities that the city collects, the more money we're going to save as these materials become more valuable as they leave the recovery facility. People who care about money need to care about what's going inside their bins and make sure that they're putting everything in the bin that is worth some money. And right now, some of the plastics, the 1 and 2 plastics, are worth money. Those are milk jugs, detergent bottles, things like that. Metals are worth money, and paper is still worth money. So there's still, newsprint being made out of recycled paper. We make cardboard out of recycled cardboard. So, put those things in a bin. It's worth money, and if the waste management company is being able to sell our commodities on the backside of sorting it all out, then we're all going to save money in the end. And then the landfill space. I mean, if we use less landfill space, landfills will last longer. They don't have to invest money in more infrastructure. That all is going to end up being a boost to our city.
When I give tours to the children, I ask them what they think. Why do we do this? And resoundingly that comes back that, well, we're going to save space in the landfills, or we're going to end global warming. And to me, it's just like it's all driven by money. There's money to be made in recycling, or there's money to be saved. There's cost avoidances by recycling. And I think that's what's really spurred it, and what's gotten a lot of our vendors interested and keeps them recycling and buying recycled products. For example, they don't have to make any more plastic. They can get whatever plastic they need, shred it, pelletize it, and reform it, so you don't have to go through the chemical process of making new plastic. And I understand that some techniques, no alternative, and that's great. But again, with metal recycling, well, we're doing a lot of cost avoidance by gathering the raw materials and then processing it when it can be made into a viable, good product just from what we already have collected and processed. Just a little bit of refinement. My passion is glass. We want to get a glass crusher so that we can process every scrap of glass that comes through here and put it to use in our parks department, from the pebbles to the sand that we can make. So, I mean, the possibilities are endless. Once you actually start digging into it and you have a little bit of gumption, I mean, you can find recycling for everything. Like, we don't take styrofoam, but there's a device called a condenser or a densifier where you can melt the styrofoam and turn it into a raw product, and companies do buy that.
Right now, we have about an 11%, we call it a diversion rate, so how much is not going into the landfill. Our diversion rate is made up of recyclables and yard waste, because we have yard waste collection every week. So if we look at what our diversion rate is and what we compare it to our local communities, if we look at Sugarland has had carts for a year now. They're up around 36%. That's national average. A city like San Antonio, which has got a bigger population than ours, they're doing not just yard waste, they're actually doing commercial composting. So they have 3 bins. They have a composting green waste bin, they have recycling, and then they have a wee little trash bin. And their expectation is that they're going to divert all but about 12% of their waste, or something like that, 12 to 15%. And that's just amazing that you could get rid of everything weekly and have just a few gallons of actual trash for an average house. I mean, I think it'd be nice to get there.
Well, one of the things that we get the most is cardboard. I never realized how much cardboard was in my life until I got the job here. Another item that it comes in quite a bit is glass. There was a period of time where we really had some difficulty processing the glass and sending it off to a final destination. However, that's lightened up in the last few years, and we don't have any problems like we used to of sending the glass on to be recycled. Other items that we get that a lot of people might not know about, electronics. We do a lot of e-cycling. That just grows every year, more and more. Right when I thought we were going to run out of TVs in the whole world to recycle, they changed over and had the new format with the digital format, and they're sending and receiving the signal, and that just brought even more TVs into us. And we caught up with that, but it never stops. We get TVs like you wouldn't believe it. We can accept computers also. One of our most popular processes or services that we offer is shredding. So that's boosted our paper input, and everybody wants their documents shredded these days. So we come in, we must field 3 or 4 calls a day about the shredder and shredding. And we have some businesses that come in and bring us pallets of papers to shred. It seems like every year we come within a few people of the year before, or we surpass it. Likewise with the materials that we collect. The year before, we tend to generally always pass it. Wait a minute, come on in. So, I mean, our numbers are almost always growing, and if not the total overall number, at least portions of it throughout the year are growing. For example, our glass fell off this year, however, cardboard more than made up for it. So it's almost like a trade-off, but every year it seems that our total numbers do go up. And as far as recycling being popular, my mom did it when she was a little girl, only they called it fighting the war to beat the Nazis. So she saved aluminum, they saved the drippings from the bacon for munitions and all this. So this goes way back to different times of need. And yes, it was popular in the 60s and the 70s, and in certain cultures they far surpass us in Europe for demand, but I see it growing and the interest in it growing.
Maybe you aren't interested in saving the world. Maybe you don't have time to sort through your recycling. Well, you're running out of excuses because it can't get much easier to recycle. At the very least, you are helping to save the city money. So let's all do our part. Along with the city of Pearland and Keep Pearland Beautiful, let's take advantage of our resources and recycle